Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexiot's here, and it is Sunday morning, and I'm in Atlanta. I traveled to Atlanta yesterday. It was an ordeal. I'm not very well rested. I probably had about 2 hours sleep last night, so I may be not totally my sharpest, just so y'all know. So yeah, I'm gonna try and do the stream the way I always do it. All right, let's just get to it. I'm not gonna mess around. We'll preview for the Houston Rockets in Toronto today. Fred VanVleet makes his annual visit to the Raptors to play them this year. And yeah, it's going to be a fun game, hopefully. I have some, you know what? I actually feel pretty good about the Raptors today for some strange reason. I don't know why. I feel like it's like the last two games pissed me off so bad against the Bulls and the Nets that this is the way things even out. That sometimes, we have games we lose that I feel like we shouldn't lose. And then we come around and we play against teams that we shouldn't beat, and we do beat them. Because the Rockets are very good right now. They've been winning a lot this season. They have a winning record. Fred VanVleet effect has been very strong for the Rockets franchise. And they're in a very good place right now, which is interesting because honestly, I'm glad because I'm very happy for Fred. So let's go look at the stuff that's going on with the injury report right now. The Raptors are very interesting with the injury report. In fact, a lot of things were kind of moving around and swirling around yesterday. Practice interview with Emmanuel Quickly, where he expressed frustration with his inability to be playing on the court this year. It's got to be so frustrating. The man's only played 3 games this year. And he kind of described that when the injury happened in the Lakers game earlier this season, where he's coming around the screen and he kind of wrapped his arm the wrong way. I actually kind of remember that play where Emmanuel really started like kind of hurting and grimacing and holding his arm a little bit when we played Los Angeles earlier this year. So they asked him straight up. Michael Grange goes, Emmanuel, can you throw the ball full court with your left arm right now? And he's like, I don't think so. I don't know. And so that's, yeah. And then he followed that up by saying he wants to be fully healed before he comes back out on the court and plays for the Raptors. So it's a tough situation with Quickly. I was really hoping he'd be back by now. In fact, I thought he was. They were saying he was going to be back in mid-December, but it's already almost the end of December. And well, we just wish and pray and hope for more good health for him and recovery so that he can return to the Raptors lineup. In fact, some people are writing articles right now. What should all the NBA teams be worried about? And for us, they wrote the injuries. The Raptors are in a rebuild. They weren't expected to do well, but these injuries are really not allowing us to get going on our rebuild properly to really kind of gauge where we're at. We've been saying this like a broken record for a couple of weeks now, of course. So Manuel's out again today, unfortunately. And I know that he really, really does want to return as soon as possible. Bruce Brown is also ruled out today. Also, Jakob Poeltl is going to miss his second game because of the groin pull, which is too bad. Like I said on Friday, I felt like the dude looks pretty good and he looks like he's probably all right, but who knows? He's probably just sore and they're being precaution. It's a huge blow because honestly, the Rockets are a very big team and it is going to make it harder for us to beat them without having our center out there. Also on the injury list is Davion Mitchell, who's listed as questionable due to his shoulder. Of course, he missed the last game. So there's quite possible that Davion will miss this one too. But the good news, RJ Barrett is not sick anymore, and he will play today, and so will Scottie Barnes. So at least we'll have the BB of the BBQ with Barnes and Barrett out there. And hopefully the combination of those two guys working off each other with Grady Dick and Jacoby Walter will be enough to carry the Raptors against a very good Western Conference team, the Houston Rockets. And yeah, this is a tough task, but you know what? I don't know why. For some reason, I feel like something's going to happen good for the Raptors this week against one of these opponents they have to play this week, as far as either Houston today, maybe New York tomorrow. That's not as likely because it's in MSG. But maybe Atlanta in Toronto also could be a game that we steal before the end of the year. But we'll have to see. On the other side of things, Houston has only one injury right now. It's Tari Eason. It's his lower leg, and he will not play today against the Raptors. As far as things with their lineup, who are the Rockets this year? Well, Fred VanVleet is their starting point guard with Jalen Green in the backcourt. Our villain Dylan, at the small forward, of course, will be returning to his hometown to play against the Raptors. Jabari Smith at power forward, and Alperen Sengun is the center, the very, very talented center who's on the rise as a young star in this league, doing more and more amazing things. Darko, in his interview yesterday, praising Sengun and saying that he's like a mini Jokic. And I thought that was kind of a weird way to put it. And then he prefaces like, he's not that much smaller than Jokic. It's like he's a mini Jokic. I thought that was pretty funny. He said that. It's a high compliment coming from Darko about Alperen Sengun. The rest of the bench, they got guys like Aaron Holiday, one of the Holiday brothers. Amin Thompson, of course. Steven Adams is healthy, and we should expect to see his big center body out there. We're going to miss Pirtle because of him. Reed Shepard, Cam Whitmore, Jock Landell, Jeff Green, Jay Sean Tate. Yeah, there's some good vets on this team now with the young talent, and they're getting some really good results from all that. Man, just reading that depth chart and thinking about, okay, Sengun, Steven Adams, Jock Landell. Yeah, they got size on us all day today. And in some ways, it may be mouse in the house on the Raptors today. Darko, you may really want to consider starting Bruno Fernando today. I'm serious. Do not screw around with this. I love Mobo. I think Mobo is great, but I still do not believe he is a true center defensively. And this could be a real problem if you let Mobo have to try and guard the centers for the Rockets. It may not go well at all. So I would advise you to probably play Bruno Fernando at least to start and see how good he does. And if he's not going to be the answer, then you might need to put in Olynyk to do some stuff. But yeah, Jonathan can try. I don't know. Maybe him and Scott together could work together as a tag team out there with size to kind of try and do stuff. But they have to be so good on defense around the rim. And in some ways, our young Raptors don't know how to do rim protection. And that's why Jakob is so essential for our defense and keeping people out of the paint from just dunking on us. So, yeah, it's either Scottie and Jonathan figure out how to do it as a team together, or we need Jakob back. Let's just put it that way. It's scary. It's very, very scary. The referee report for today, guys. I was just looking at the refs, and they're interesting. We got Josh Tiven as the crew chief today. 15th season, number 58. His favorite show is Seinfeld. He likes the movie Minority Report. He listens to Dermot Kennedy. His favorite book is Firstborn. It's a book written by his dad. He likes to eat chicken parmesan with vodka sauce. His favorite app is Instagram. He'd like to visit Hawaii. He'd like to play golf at Augusta National, and he's a yo-yo expert. Yeah, Josh Tiven is officiated 855 regular season games in 14 seasons as an NBA staff official. He has also worked 86 playoff games, including 8 finals games. Tiven officiated the 2024 NBA All-Star Game in Indianapolis. I remember that. They gave him that as a reward for being a good ref. Josh Tiven is not a horrible ref for the Raptors. We did lose the only game that he's ref for us this year so far. We win 57% of the time. And meanwhile, the Rockets win 52%. So the split is in the Raptors' favor today with the crew chief. 57-52 is the split there. The second ref is the younger brother of the Goebel brothers, Jason Goebel, number 68, in his 9th season out of Miami, Florida. Jason likes the TV show Power. His favorite movie is The Godfather. He likes to listen to Mark Anthony. His favorite book is Pirates in Blue. His favorite meal, veal parmigiani. Favorite app, Netflix. He most like to visit Tahiti. And his bucket list is to roll his own cigar in Cuba. I always feel that's weird that a former Miami-Dade police officer wants to go to Cuba and roll his own cigar. That's right. Jason Goebel is a former Miami-Dade Police Department officer for 13 years before he became a full-time ref with the NBA. His brother, John, is in his 18th season as an NBA staff official. That's right. One of the Goebel brothers is going to be in town to referee. We lost the only game that he refereed for us this year so far. We win 52% of the time, and the Rockets win 58%. So 52 to 58 for the Rockets on the second ref, Jason Goebel. The third ref is Matt Myers. Matt Myers is one of the better refs for the Raptors right now, number 43 in the 7th season out of St. Louis, Missouri. His favorite show is The Wire. He likes the movie Shawshank Redemption. He listens to Jay-Z. His favorite meal is buffalo wings. He likes to play Words with Friends. He'd most like to visit Bora Bora. attend the Masters, and his hidden talent is golf. He's a very good golfer. Matt Myers has officiated 233 regular season games in 6 seasons as an NBA staff official. He officiated 12 seasons in the G League and 2 seasons in WNBA before he worked he worked the G League finals in 2012, 2013, and 2018, as well as the 2013 NBA G League All-Star Game. Myers also officiated the men's 2019 FIBA World Cup in Beijing. That's right, I remember him being there. Matt Myers was one of the NBA reps. Was actually at FIBA World Cup when we won bronze. Oh wait, is that the wrong year? That may have been way back. That's in 2019, not the year last year. Never mind. It was from the one before. But yeah, Matt Myers has done FIBA reffing too, so he's been involved in G League and a lot of different things. All right, Matt Myers, as I said, is a top 5 ref for us. Honestly, we have a 63% win percentage. We did lose the only game he ref for us this year so far, and the Rockets are 29%. So it's a huge split in the Raptors' favor with the third ref, 63-29. Matt Myers, he literally is a top 5 ref for us, guys. Like, he's one of the top 5 refs for the Raptors percentage-wise. So there's a ref crew. Josh Tiven is Josh Tiven, and it should be a fairly fair down the line kind of crew that is taking care of things pretty well, I would think. So we'll have to see today. All right, let's get into more of the stuff. Of course, there was a 9:05 game yesterday that I missed while I was on the plane flying, and it looked like a wild one. I watched the highlights. In some ways, this is a good test for me. I'm going to try and cover a game that I didn't actually watch. I only watched the highlights, and I've looked at the box score. And I know some of you guys that are here watch the game, so maybe you can test me and see how well I got the feel of the game without actually watching it. To me, it's very interesting. The Raptors 905 only played 7 players yesterday because of injury. A lot of players not available for them yesterday, including AJ Lawson, which is, I was like, you know what? AJ's so good and he's absolutely essential for us to win. Well, he wasn't available yesterday, and he wasn't the only one. It's kind of crazy who was not available for the 905 yesterday. Quincy Guerriere was out because he was sick. Dylan Disu had an inflamed foot. Eugene Omoruyi didn't play either. And Jared Rhoden still hasn't shown up to start playing for the Raptors 905 again. So they played a 7-man rotation, and it went into overtime, which is crazy. So, yeah, we have 5 stars of the game, and they're the players that really kind of played the most. Really, really fantastic game. I'll get into it more in a second, but let's check in on the comments with you guys so real quick. But, yeah, I'm really proud of the 905. But you know what? I'm going to say this. They are lucky they won that game, because it looks like the only way they got to overtime was that the San Diego Clippers had to miss free throws at the end of the game to not allow overtime. That if they had made the free throws, the game would have been over and the Clippers won. So a missed free throw looks like the only reason why they got to overtime, at least from the highlights, at least from what I saw. And even Kaminsky had a free throw attempt at the end of the game where he could have sealed the game, but he didn't make it. Oh my gosh, that's so crazy. So free throws are still a problem, but in the way of the world, they actually were able to finagle the W in the last game of the Showcase Cup section of the season. And they finished the Showcase Cup 5-10, which is, it's still, I hate it. It's not right. It's very similar to Raptors record, right? They're 7-21. So we're winning a third of our games right now, both teams. And I don't like that. 5-10, 7-21. Yeah, that's the same ratio if you break it down mathematically. All right, let's see. Trevor J's in first, of course. Good morning, Commissioner J, Commissioner of Fun. I was thinking, you're saying you're going to be back. You're going to be in Atlanta on Boxing Day. Maybe I can meet you at Hartsfield on my way out. You fly in, and I'll be getting on the plane to leave. And maybe we can just meet at Chick-fil-A in the middle of Hartsfield and just sit down for a second. I've done that before, to see somebody before. I actually saw my brother that way once when we weren't able to see each other over a holiday. We just hung out for like 5 minutes in the airport and said, hey, how's it going? So who knows? Maybe the timing's right that, Trevor, you'll be coming in the airport when I'm leaving, and maybe we can actually still see each other. We'll have to see. Trevor's saying, no matter what life gives you, even if it hurts, just be strong and act like you're okay. Walls shake, but never collapse. Wow. Those are great words of wisdom, especially for today. I did not have a good travel day yesterday. Let's just put it that way. And I'm, like I said, running on like 2 hours, 3 hours sleep right now. because I didn't realize it'd be colder in Atlanta than it would be out in my cottage out in the middle of Ontario. It's colder here. Trevor's saying, "Happy game day. Let's do it." That's right. Where there's a will, there's a way. And if we can beat Fred and his crew today, and this would be a huge accomplishment because they really have been rolling. They've won 3 out of their last 4 recently. But when I'm looking at their schedule and the games they played, they beat a lot of teams this year. And Freddie should be very proud of what he's building there with the Rockets right now. It really, really should. I can't hate on him. Trevor's saying, what do you think about the NBA investigating the 3-point shooting game? Are they going to do anything about it? Well, Adam Silver is the commissioner that has his ear to the world and hearing what they're saying. And the criticisms of the NBA game, he's taking very to heart because he wants to be proactive and try and fix them. This is smart as a CEO of a corporate person running a corporation, the NBA, to try and give the product that the people want. Because in some ways, he could lose the audience more and more if he doesn't listen to them. So yeah, this is a gripe, and a lot of people are saying it. And it's not just fans like us. It's players that are saying it. It's coaches that are saying it. So this is a huge problem. I think LeBron came out recently and said that he doesn't like the modern game now because it's so centric around the 3-pointer. I think he's very serious about this, Adam Silver. And he will probably do a lot of research and different kinds of thinking, problem solving, creative brainstorming about what could possibly be done to this. The one thing that occurred to me that could possibly do this, and it was kind of talked about for a little bit, is incentivize the players to go down low and go near the basket. In some ways, one way you could do it is you call more fouls down there so people know they can get the foul shots. Or it's just that, I don't know, maybe you change where the scoring is. Maybe, it's funny. I'm talking to my brother and his son last night, and he plays basketball right now. And they are doing this at the junior level. Listen to this. He can shoot threes, and he shoots threes on his basketball team he plays on, but they count only for 2. So in some ways, at junior levels of basketball, they're discouraging over importance of 3 by taking the 3 away, and they don't even play like they do today. They play like it was in the 50s when there was no 3-point shot. So some of the kids that are coming up in the lower levels, like my nephew, they don't even have a 3-point shot in their basketball games right now because they're trying to, I don't know, maybe that won't be good for a lot of people because it's like, oh, that's part of the game. It's not going to go away. I don't know what to do about this, honestly. But Adam Silver is definitely going to put in the research and thinking about it to try and figure it out. They don't want to move the line, and they don't want to take it away. So what do you do? How do you discourage the overabundance of lazy threes just in transition and get the game more back into paint post kind of stuff? You have to incentivize teams to want to play a post game. And I don't know how you do that exactly. But I think that's the key to doing it is you got to incentivize a low post game. And I have no idea how they're going to do it. Mo's saying, good morning, Raptor Free Crew. Great win for 905. Frank, Evan, Charlie Brown came to hoop. Overtime was nerve-wracking, but we did it. Happy game day. Welcome home. Fred, I hope we can somehow win. I hope so too, Mo. I'm exactly with you on everything here, right here. Yeah, I'll bet it was nerve-wracking. I appreciate the Raptor Freak family for being there in the chat still. Kareem, Blackhawk, and Mo holding it down for us. And I couldn't watch the game and be there. I wish I could have watched that game, honestly. It seemed like it would have been a really fun game to watch. It seemed like it was back and forth. It looked like the Clippers were leading for part of the game, and then the Raptors, they come back and do this. It's really good. There's a lot of good stuff that happened in that game, and I'm really happy that they ended up winning. In some ways, it's really important that they outscored the other team in overtime. It looked like in overtime, Mo, from what I saw in the box score and from the highlights, that the Clippers took an early lead in the overtime, and the Raptors shut them down and made enough shots to overcome them by the end, just barely, by 1 point. That's fantastic. So I'll bet it was nerve-wracking. I'll bet it very much was. Let me go and give you my stars. Even though I didn't watch the game, I'm just doing it purely off of the box score. Frank Kaminsky is my number 1 star of the game. Wow. I was saying this yesterday in the preview. I hope Frank can meld with the 905 a little bit better and look like he is connected to them a little better. And that seems like what happened. I mean, especially if you're going to get 40 minutes out there with your teammates on your new team all of a sudden. Yeah. Kaminsky, 35 minutes, 12 of 19 from the field, 3 of 5 from three, 4 of 7 at the free throw line. That one miss at the end of the game was a horrible miss, Frank. 7 rebounds, 5 assists, a -4 with 33 points in 35 minutes. If there's one thing I love about what Frank did is the points per minute production was fantastic. And I looked at the highlights, and in some ways, it looked like Frank Kaminsky was being like the dominant big man out there, like just going right at the basket and throwing it down on them. And just they didn't have any answer for him. Sometimes when you shoot so well like that and you're 7 foot like that, yeah, it's because they couldn't stop him because of his height, and he was just doing whatever he wanted to do. So I love that. That's really good. That is really, really good. I hope that he hangs around. I could very well see somebody trying to pick him up and snatching him off our team, seagulling him. But I really do hope Frank can be on our team for most of the rest of the 905 season because he's a really good weapon. He's a really, really good weapon to have on your team. So thank you, Frank Kaminsky, for showing up. Kennedy Chandler, begrudgingly, is my second star of the game because you know what? There's nobody to pick. And Kennedy got a double-double last night. 10 for 25 from the field, 44 minutes out there. So these guys were putting in major minutes yesterday. 4 of 10 from three. He made both his free throws, which makes me very happy. 6 rebounds, 10 assists, 1 steal, 6 turnovers, though, a 10 to 6 assist to turnover ratio, +7 with 27 points for Kennedy Chandler. Yeah, I mean, you know, he's been steady this whole year, but the flavor of basketball you get from Kennedy Chandler is I'm going to try and score twice and I'll try and pass it once. So it's like he's very much going to go and call his own number more often than trying to get other people involved. But 10 assists is nice, Kennedy. But cut down on those 6 turnovers. How about that? The third star for me is Charlie Brown, another begrudgingly, but he was huge yesterday. 7 of 15 from the field, 2 of 8 from three, 3 of 4 from free throw, 15 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 22 points. Yeah, that's awesome. And I'm glad he showed up and he put in some minutes. He got to start. He played 44 minutes. And in some ways, this is the stuff that Kaminsky, Chandler, and Brown want. They're at the Showcase Cup where all the executives sit around the arena and no fans are hardly in there. I don't know, Trevor, if you could have gotten tickets to the Orlando games that just happened for 905 because it really is an in-house NBA event for NBA brass to come and view all of the all the G League players and kind of get the feel for what's out there in the talent pool right now. Well, this is perfect kind of thing and perfect kind of game for guys like Frank, Charlie Brown, and Kennedy Chandler who are trying to make the league. And it looks like they all put a good showing in yesterday. But yeah, Charlie Brown, a pretty good game, my 3rd star of the game. Evan Gilliard is my 4th star of the game. He was the 4th player that was in double digits. There were only 4 guys in double digits, and they did the bulk of the scoring to get to 112, which is amazing. 33 for Kaminsky, 27 for Chandler, 22 for Brown, and then 19 for Evan Gilliard the second. In 30 minutes, he was 5 of 11, 3 of 6 from the three-point line. He made all 4 of his free throws. Thank you, Evan. 6 assists, 5 turnovers. Once again, these point guards are not ethical with their turnovers. Really, really bad turnovers. But Gilliard hit some big shots, and he was solid as a backup point guard last night, so he's my 4th star. 5th star is our Prince. Yeah, wow. I saw something from Shamshe in the highlights from yesterday that was so good. Oh, my gosh. It's the best play I've seen Ulrich Shamshe do so far in his very, very young G League and NBA career. Wow, that pick and roll with Charlie Brown was top-notch because he caught it in a very, it was very tough to catch. And then he went through physicality and he threw it down on their heads. Yeah, that was amazing, that pick and roll play. In fact, it'll be in the Instagram stories in a second. But Shamshe, you know what? You showed something last night. You showed something. He didn't score a lot, but he did a lot of good things on the court and was a winning person. In fact, he was the highest plus minus on the team yesterday, a +9. So they only won by 1. So he had a huge factor in helping us win the 905 game yesterday. 2 of 5 from the field. He got 11 rebounds, including 4 offensive rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks, 4 points only for Prince Shamshe. But man, I'm very, very proud of him. The development is happening. The little signs of things that he is improving and learning are there. And there was that pick and roll with Charlie Brown is a very good evidence of it. Very, very good evidence. So yeah, 905 won by 1 point in overtime against the San Diego Clippers. And now, as Mo said in the chat, we roll it all back to 0-0 and start a new season of fresh Andrew Jones. So let's get it on the good foot and start winning more than we're losing. And who knows, maybe we mess around and get a G League championship this year. That would be fantastic. I would love that so much. Thank you, Mo, for holding it down while I was in the air up there. The air up there. You called OT for 905, laugh out loud. You know, it's crazy. I'll look at the box score a little bit more, and they have that little graph where they show the lines on ESPN of where people are who are leading, and it looks like the 905 were winning in the beginning, pretty good in the first quarter, and then like the Clippers came back in the second, and they had the lead at halftime, and yeah, because they were up by 8 at halftime, it looks like, and they led for most of the third, and then the Raptors 905 came back and took over at the end of the third and had the lead at the end of the third, where it was like a 4-point lead, it looks like. And then they had the lead until the midpoint of the fourth, and the Clippers took the lead back all of a sudden with like 4 minutes to go. And it was kind of back and forth for the rest of it after that. And yeah, the 905 just managed to barely beat them in overtime, which is crazy because, like I said, when the overtime started, the Clippers did all the scoring right away that they did in the overtime. And then the Raptors had to stop them and then score on top of them. And they ended up outscoring them 8-7 or 7-6. So yeah, it was like the Clippers score 6 points as overtime starts, and we're down by 6 all of a sudden. And somehow, some way, the Raptors scrap and get the 7 points to win by 1. That's a really, really crazy thing right there. Really back and forth. Very back and forth game. Fiercely saying, good morning, fam, and happy game day. Good morning to you, MJ. I hope everything's great in the Ottawa area and the weather's nice. Yeah. Yeah, it's nice here. It's just cold. It's cold. It's crazy. It's like I want to leave Ontario because it's like -12 today around Ontario right now. But yeah, it's not much better in Atlanta. I'm not gonna lie. It's not much better here right now. It's pretty cold here too. Fiercely saying, as a fan, we want to love the excitement of watching a healthy roster, but we need to trust the medical staff's assessments and decisions. Yeah, I mean, I know in the last few days I've cast aspersions about the injuries for the Raptors and whether they're legitimate, and we're doing weird things to tank with our injury list. And I don't want to think this. I don't want to believe that this is something that a strategy that Ujiri would employ. But in some ways, it's like, man, you know what? I want to just believe that they're on the up and up, and they're truthful, and that they're just being truthful. You know, speaking of truthful, I watched that last Bringing Home the W episode before I left on the plane yesterday, and man, Teresa Resch is so authentic and so transparent. It may be a problem in some ways. I'm not gonna lie, seriously. Now I identify with her as somebody who does this channel every day, and I'm very, very real and authentic. Y'all know this that watched me for a long time. I don't hold back, and I'm very transparent about myself and my life. Well, Teresa's being the same way about the process with the WNBA team, the Toronto Tempo. In some ways, I really, really love the open look at what you're doing with this franchise, Teresa, but I'm also really worried for you because I feel like it's going to mess up a competitive edge for you with the team. In some ways, there needs to be proprietary stuff for your franchise that we don't need to be involved in. And you're going to have to figure out where that line is. But I do really appreciate that you want to offer us an inside view on the making of a WNBA team like the Toronto Tempo. But I really do think at some point you're really going to, you may learn tough lessons if you don't do this ahead of time. I'm just warning you, Teresa, because this is a competitive thing, sports, and they want every edge they can get. And if you come out and you're like saying all this stuff about your team in the inner workings and what you're trying to do, it could be a problem for us in being successful with the Tempo. So I want you to do fantastic. I love that you guys are having a WNBA team in Toronto because I want to root for it. I want to support it and do all that stuff. But I just worry that you may be too open. You know, in some ways, I feel it myself from doing this channel that maybe sometimes I'm a little too open with things about me and things about the Raptors even. That, you know, I'm looking at everything and maybe I call out stuff and maybe I shouldn't. If I really love the Raptors, why would I put on blast things that might hurt them? And I try not to, but also at the same time, I try to be honest about the team and covering it. And in some ways, the Raptors should look at me as a safeguard for testing whether you're being proprietary with your information. Because honestly, there's a lot of inner working stuff that fans like me should not know about with sports franchises. And if I can see through things and figure them out, well, maybe you need to hide them better, Bobby and Masai, because that's what I'm saying. In some ways, I'm like a hacker that a company would test or hire to test their security for their website. And in some ways, I'm looking at what y'all are doing. And if I have the ability to discern that this is what's happening with the franchise and I talk about it on the channel, it could hurt the Raptors. I understand that. I understand that. So authenticity and transparency is awesome. In fact, I applaud you, Teresa, for wanting to do it this way, especially with the creative process of building the WNBA team. But you have to watch out. This could very much end up being a competitive Achilles heel for the Toronto Tempo if you want to continue to do this while you are in charge of this team. So there's going to have to be certain stuff that's got to be behind closed doors. I'm sorry. And the other thing I want to say too is you're amazing. I think you're awesome. And the fact that you came out and did an episode this week about the leak and how you reacted to it and really went over every little part of it. I mean, Teresa was at a cocktail party or a party somewhere, and somebody came up to her and said, "So it's Toronto Tempo." And she was like, "What? How did you know that?" And she got really angry and like kind of like pissed. And she was like, who told you that? And she's investigating it. And then they kind of figured out that it was leaked on the WNBA site, but it hadn't been out to very many people. And there were some people that were talking about it. We were talking about it right away because we're just like that, but that hadn't gone totally mainstream. And she was trying to gauge whether to tell the name of our franchise ahead of time because she revealed that they really did want to reveal it in mid-January. They did not want to reveal it so soon. And that's the thing. She's so honest about everything with this. In fact, talking to the Valkyries about they wanted to release their jersey the same day around when all of our stuff came out, and they didn't want to step on each other's toes about it. Yeah, in some ways, you're so open and honest, Teresa, and I can identify with you. Trust me. But in some ways, we've got to figure out where you've got to kind of protect certain things. And I'm just warning you now while it's early because I want the Tempo to win. I want them to be badass, and I want them to get WNBA championships. And I know that if we're too open about our process, it could hinder this, is what I'm saying. It could hinder this. You know, Masai and Bobby and the 905, you know, because you were there with them. He's your mentor and stuff like that. They really do a good job out of all the NBA franchises of keeping secrets and not having leaks and keeping a certain level of proprietary stuff that is behind the scenes that people like me don't know about. And that's fantastic. So in some ways, continue to get mentorship from Ujiri and figure out where that line should be for you in the Toronto Tempo, because I can already see this may be a problem if you're going to operate this way. I love that you came out with a bunch of AI advertisements for the Tempo. There was a decrying against the artificialness of the artificial intelligence creations of art. We all hate AI, honestly. A lot of people do. That you go from pivoting from AI images, the very first images you're using for Tempo content, to being absolutely the most authentic and honest and telling person on the podcast and talking about your process. So kudos to you, Teresa. I love you. I honestly love you. I think you're an amazing person, and I only wish the best in everything that you're doing as the president of the Toronto Tempo. Yeah, you want to hire me? You can hire me. Seriously, I would come work for the Tempo and try and help you guys in any kind of way. And it might even shut me up from talking about so much Raptors and 905 and Tempo and Team Canada basketball stuff on the morning channel here. I don't know. That'd be kind of fun. Maybe I should go work for the WNBA real quick. Who knows? Would that be weird? Should Lex work for the WNBA? I should come down there and help them with some stuff. I don't know what I'd help them exactly with, but there is a basketball mind right here. There is something here. All right, let me keep going in the chat. Oh man. Yeah, I love that. And I also watched the Dinners with DeMar with Chris Paul episode yesterday. Man, DeMar, you're amazing, dude. First of all, and like Chris Paul really illustrates, like they really talk about how being a pro, you get all this money, you get millions and millions of dollars, but the cost and hidden ways is so crazy. And they really go over it with Chris Paul and DeMar DeRozan, Dinners with DeMar. Totally check out that episode. I have so much respect for Chris Paul. He's one of my favorite point guards in the league. He has been since he came from Wake Forest. And it just showed even more seeing him in the discussion with Demar, talking to him on that show that recently. Man, such good stuff. Y'all check that out also. Seriously, very very good content coming out recently. Thank you, Jake's Takes too. Great, yeah. All right, let's see. Fiercely saying Alperen Sengun is extremely solid. I truly hope Darko puts Bruno in the starting lineup to match the size. I do too. I think that you need to. Fernando played for the Rockets, I believe, at some point. I just I want to have a fight in this fight where we have a chance, and we can't be the little dog in the fight necessarily in this situation. Steven Adams is a luxury. I mean, if we had him on our team, he'd be starting for sure with Yak about. So yeah, a luxury of a backup center that's Steven Adams, and Jabari Smith is not a small person either. So we really are going to have a problem with size today. I really do believe that that's true. That we may be a very undersized team against the Rockets today, and that may be part of the reason why we get beat today. Seriously, that may be what I'm talking about tomorrow. Fiercely saying, great words of wisdom, Trevor J. I know. In some ways, they're very apropos to things that are going on with me right now. I appreciate you, Trevor. Let's see. Problem with Bruno is foul trouble. Well, this is the thing. At least establish that they're not going to get an early paint presence by just physically being there, Bruno. And even if he eats up like 3 fouls in the first quarter, that's still a good buffer to not let the Rockets start just by running roughshod over the Raptors down low in the paint. That's the thing. You need resistance. And that's why I've always said it's important who you start, because when you start the game, you set the whole tone for the whole entire game. And in some ways, this youngest team that we had the other day, they were great. They were athletic. But in some ways, you want to know how to start the game right so that you can set yourself up to have the best chance to win later. And if you come out with a younger and inexperienced team or a smaller team than the other team, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage right away. And that's what I worry about coming out undersized against the Rockets today. Is that, if Bruno's out there, even if he hacks Alpern, if he just kind of stymies him a little bit, uses some of his fouls, well, boom, take him out after 3 fouls, 6 minutes in the game, and throw Olynyk in there and let him throw some fouls on people real quick. That's the strategy I would use, Darko, just so you know. That's what I would use there. Let's see. Fiercely saying people still play yo-yo. Wow, taking me back memory lane. Yeah, Josh Tibbin. I don't know. It's an interesting hobby. Yo-yo is very interesting. It's true. You don't ever see any mainstream yo-yoing any point at this point. It's really kind of like from our generation, if you're around my age, it was so prevalent. Duncan yo-yos. They were on the commercials, and you do all these tricks. And I had one. I was pretty good with one, actually. I could do a few tricks when I had the yo-yo. But yeah, you don't see it on TV. It's not even in pulp culture anymore. You'd see like a Peanuts cartoon in the Sunday Funnies, and one of the Peanuts characters would have a yo-yo, or a cartoon character would have a yo-yo. But that's not even in anywhere anymore. It's like the yo-yo disappeared. There's no prominence. The yo-yo went the way of the dodo. It's true, Fiercey. Where are the yo-yos? Taking you back, huh? Yeah. Fiercey saying, what's up with the refs today and Parmesan? Parmesan, I don't know. These guys, sometimes there's these common threads between the refs. I always try and find the common thread. Like, two of the refs like Bob Seger. Nice. It's a Bob Seger game. So it's, Parmesan today. I don't know why. It's Parmesan. Chicken Parmesan, veal Parmesan. Yeah, these are Parmesan guys and buffalo wings. So we got chicken Parmesan, veal Parmesan, and buffalo wings on the referee's menu today. Parmesan. These guys just want cheese on there. Wasn't that like something? There was some show that at one point where the person just kept ordering chicken Parmesan, and they're like trying to fight ordering it. I don't remember what it is. If you remember what show that was, let me know. Somebody who always order chicken Parmesan, they couldn't break their record or something. I don't know what it was. I forget. Kaz is here. Good to see Trucker Kaz. It's Sunday. He's off the road again. Let's see. What's up, Lex and Rapid Free Crew? Good morning to you, Kaz. I hope you're doing great in the Ottawa region also. We got our capital city crew here today. That's right. What's up? Yeah, it would have been nice to have Ben Taylor today. Maybe. Yeah, I guess you're right because of Freddie. That's the joke that I think it was who was it? Was it Blake Murphy, I think, that made the joke, or maybe it was Lewinberg. I'm not sure. It was one of the media guys that made that joke the other day. It's just wrong that they gave us Ben Taylor on the Thursday game against the Nets and not on the Rockets game against Fred. I mean, that's true. I mean, there is a history there. And yeah, it'd be kind of funny to see. All right, Ben, who do you want to screw over more, the Raptors or Fred? Stargate saying, Lex is in Atlanta. Glad you got there safe and got through that crazy airport in Atlanta. Enjoy the time with your family. Stargate, I don't even want to talk about that airport. In fact, that's the worst thing about my trip so far was Hartsfield. It was a debacle. I don't even want to bring it up, honestly. I was in that airport for a long time last night because of confusion and being lost. So yeah, it sucked. It sucked. Oh man, it's so bad. Anyway, I don't want to talk about too much. Yeah, the travel was bad. I did not have a good day yesterday. It was a very difficult day yesterday, and it's still kind of difficult right now because, like I said, I'm on 2 hours, 3 hours sleep right now, so I'm very, very tired right now. Let's see. Cool Cat saying, "Good morning, Rabbit Free Crew. Good to see you arrive safely. Fred is back in town. I hope the kids are here too." Yeah, Freddie. I don't know if he brings his kids on trips. I don't know. Fred Jr. is probably at home being like, "Daddy's playing the Raptors today." And he's like, "Oh, good. I get to do both the things I like to do. Watch Daddy and the Raptors." Fred Jr. never ever stop being a Raptors freak, my young man. Come on now. Yeah, so hopefully we'll see little Layla. Little, I don't know. Layla's probably like, it's crazy because he had Layla while he was still in the Raptors, but he's been gone so long. I'm gonna see that kid, the younger daughter, and I'm gonna be like, holy cow, that baby's so big already. Has it been that long since Fred left? Holy cow. It's kind of gonna be the way I gauge things. And of course, Fred VanVleet Jr. is the best way to gauge the championship and how long ago it was and how old he is. I love Fred's kids so much. They're the best. They're the best. All right, let's keep going. Kaz saying, good morning to Fiercey also. Cool Cat saying, I don't like the modern game of focusing on the three-point line. I want different teams to play with different strategies. Yes. Yes, I'm with that. Stop the copycat method. Golden State won chips from movement threes. Now everyone wants that. Yeah. Yeah, you know what? They asked me this last night. My brother and his son. Why is the NBA against the 3-point line? And I was like, it's because it's just boring to watch. Like, why would you want to just watch guys dribble halfway up the court and just launch a three without any engagement on offense with passing the ball around? That's the thing we hate, is that there's so many transition threes where guys just dribble up and they jack a three, they miss. There's a rebound, they run back, and who knows? The other team could do the same thing, and it's just like back and forth, maybe 3 or 4 times with just transition threes jacked up that miss. Yeah, it's just ugly. The other problem is it's like, okay, Golden State did this, like Cool Cat said, and won championships, were very successful. Everyone wants to copycat them, but they don't have the same personnel as Steph Curry and the Splash Brothers from that time. And that's the problem. You're coming out with Wish version Splash Brothers, and these guys don't hit the threes the same way. So in some ways, it's ugly because it's not in some ways that personnel shouldn't be playing that way. So it's like you want to shoehorn your foot into a shoe that you don't fit. Nah. And I like your idea. I just don't know who is going to want to get the different characteristics to their team that isn't, because if there's a gaming advantage with the 3-point shooting like this, they figure it out through analytics, and everybody wants to have the best competitive edge. So in some ways, they're all kind of forced to be 3-point shootings because that's just where the trend is going. Does that make sense? Like I was explaining to my brother last night that they don't want mid-range anymore. And he didn't understand why. And I was like, well, it's because they figured out that you either want to take a shot right at the basket or take a three. Everything in between is not worth it at this point. That's the problem. In some ways, to fix this problem, they need to revive the mid-range game. They need more people like DeMar DeRozan doing what he does, SGA. So, yeah, the mid-range game needs to be more incentivized. I think that's part of it right there. I think that's part of it. Nako's saying Celtics are boring thanks to threes. Yeah, I mean, I find the Celtics are more entertaining watching them on defense than actually their offense because they're so weird with their undersized switching and the way they trap people on their defense. And they really do play a really good team defense off each other. That if you're going to watch a Celtics game, you're going to probably have more fun and entertainment from watching the defensive side than their offensive side. I found that that's true. Good morning to you, Gerald. I hope you're having a great Sunday morning. Kaz is saying, I don't mind them doing that at the junior level, Lex. Kids need to stop focusing only on the 3-point shot. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, my nephew's like, he's very junior level. It makes sense that they would, try and train them to not do that. So I like the idea. When I heard that, I was like, wow. But the crazy thing is, my nephew's still taking threes and bombing them. They just count for two. The other thing is, I found out he's playing center. So he is definitely just like the real NBA as far as a center jacking up threes. But he did tell me he's a foul meister too. He gets in foul trouble a lot because he's very physical. He likes to run up and just grab the ball out of the guy's hand. Instead of a jump ball, he falls on the ground and wrenches it out of their hands, and he steals the ball a lot. So he's one of the bigger kids in his age group. I'm supposed to go play with him tomorrow. We're supposed to go to a gym and shoot around. He wants me to coach him a little bit and teach him some stuff. That will be very fun if we get to do that. That'll be very, very fun. Fiercely saying 3-point shots are remove the excitement of the game, in my opinion. More focusing on fast breaks and shooting, no grittiness on defense. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just lazy. In some ways, we want to think that these guys are not lazy, millionaires. They're just kind of showing up. They have such a good life. They play, a few games a week, but there is a lot to it, recouping and travel and all that kind of stuff. But in some ways, also, NBA players get knocked for being soft and lazy. And the 3-point shooting, like lazy transition 3-point shooting, doesn't help with this kind of characterizing of them. So I feel like you're right. Like if we see the old grind, the fight, the physicalness of like post up basketball and stuff like that, it would be better because then you can make a case. Oh, these guys aren't just prima donnas; they're millionaires that just make a lot of money and they're soft and they don't like contact. That's one of the ways that would fix this kind of talk about them, because the '80s players, the '90s players, they see this and they understand this. Yeah, it's crazy because DeMar and Chris talk about this on Dinners with DeMar, the changes from when they came in the league and how it is now. And yeah, they're not totally happy with how the game's evolving either. You can tell Chris Paul and DeMar DeRozan. Very, very interesting. Fiercely saying transparency is commendable, but it's always better to move in silence. Yeah, I think in competitive situations where other people are trying to gain an edge from information about you, that is very true. That is very, very true. And that's the thing that I worry about the most with the tempo. It's like, don't tip your hat or don't let them know your MO and how you're going to operate. Because in some ways, man, people can game that to use it against you, Teresa. And I just worry about that for you guys. If I'm the worrying, warning voice right now, before you even have players, before you have anything like hired a GM or a coach, this is something that I would say that is important for you to try and do when you start getting that. I may be saying something you're like, yeah, I know, Raptors freak. You don't need to tell me that. Don't mansplain something like this. It's just your very open, transparent approach is giving me a couple red flags just in case for competitiveness for the tempo. That's all I'm trying to say right now. And you may very well understand this and you have the right levels of lines. She's so open about everything. She really went blow by blow, the whole thing about the leak and how they handled it and just how much she was going through. In fact, she really let the emotion show on the download that it really, really bugged her and it made her sad and it made her very unhappy that the leak happened. That she was very disappointed about it. And the CEO, Whitney, she talked about all the plans they had for how they were going to reveal it all. And it's just all changed. It had to all come all at once. And yeah, it is what it is. I think they handled it very well considering these things. And she's really, in some ways you watch that Bringing Home the W episode with Teresa Resch from this week, and you really get the feel of like she's somebody that knows how to make a positive out of any negative, because that's really what she did. She's like, this is not ideal. This is not how we wanted to do this. We wanted to do this in stages, and we wanted to do this. Like she even said she wanted to get in touch with the people that helped come up with some of the ideas from the public and share moments with them, like telling, yeah, we're going to use your idea and do that. But she couldn't because it all came out so all of a sudden, and she couldn't do that special thing with the fans that helped create the Toronto tempo. It's too bad. But you know what? I see the plans that they have for next year. in January to start revealing more like the jerseys and stuff like that are going to come. There are going to be those moments still for them to do that kind of stuff. It's just you've learned a lesson now, and hopefully the WNBA has learned a lesson. I know it's not even your fault, Teresa. I can tell you guys did everything right. It's just some idiot somewhere did not do something right. And that's why this got leaked too early. So I'm excited to see what the jerseys look like. I'm excited to see the process going forward. And I know, and they've already had their first event, and we're going to talk about them. Let's go do the Instagram stories real quick because that's where it's at. First of all, we got Davion Mitchell. Somebody passed away. I'm not totally sure who it is. It doesn't have a name. It says 9112 and the Dubs. And so, yeah, it's Davion's mourning someone. Of course, the great Ricky Henderson passed yesterday, former Blue Jay, probably the greatest leadoff hitter in MLB history. I'm reeling from that, honestly. I'm really sad about Ricky. All right, let's see. We got Davion, more of his highlights of defensive prowess against teams in the NBA this season. I love that. He's really putting himself on blast to show just how much he's out there doing stuff. There's Pascal in New York walking around on the city streets, taking pictures with the public out there. And he say, yo, who are you, man? Who are you? He's like, who are you? Some guy come up there, some random guy just comes up and say, hey, who are you? Nah, man, I'm here all the time, though. No cap. He's like, wait, you're famous, aren't you? I don't know who you are. That guy's so funny. On Shamshay, they're showing that pick and roll play with Charlie Brown that I was just gushing over earlier. As far as this is the crazy thing. All right, Shamshay really understood how to do the pick, right? And then the way he rolled off of it, there was physicality a bit with the Clipper players, but then the guy met him at the rim and he just dunked it right on him. The guy fell on the ground. That is so awesome. That's seriously the best play I've seen Shamshay do all year because the guy had both his hands up and he put it down on him. Ulrich Poster. That's right. You go, Shamshay. You keep doing what you do, my guy. You keep doing what you do. The Raptors want you to vote for Scottie Barnes for All-Star. Yesterday was a triple vote day. Unfortunately, I didn't get my vote in before midnight because of all the travel, and I missed the triple vote. But I hope that you guys have been diligently voting your All-Stars every single day. Don't miss a day. We got to keep voting. Vote, 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 vote. There's something they're giving away as a holiday. Their Uber One is doing a limited edition Raptors jersey giveaway. So Uber has got a new contest with the Raptors on a giveaway. All right, here's something we want to see. It was World Basketball Day yesterday, and you know what? The Raptors, it looks like they had their own little event where it looks like Bruno Fernando is there, and they were grabbing basketballs and meeting with the community. Oh, Bruce Brown was there too. And they had kids, and they're doing the drills where they spin around and have to grab the ball, who can get it faster. Really, really fun stuff. Young ladies getting practice with the Raptors. So cool. And Emmanuel quickly came in and talked to the kids at the table. It's like getting butterflies before the games. He's talking to them about when you're playing, you're about to play. You can get nervous, and you just got to go through them and just be confident and go out there and do your best and have fun. So really good to see the Raptors out there mentoring young girls and basketball places on World Basketball Day. Very, very cool. Yeah, there you go. And one, there you go. There's Bruno Fernando's Instagram. He's got somebody on blast. It's from Maryland. Some Maryland player, number 9. I'm not sure. He won an award or something. There's the 905 stories from yesterday. There's the Ulrich poster from the pick and roll. That is such a good play. I'm really, really loving that play. It was really, really cool to see that the 905 took care of business on their last game of the Showcase Cup, and they ended up getting that 5-10 record at the end there. It was pretty good. No, 5-11. Sorry, 5-11. Let's see. Garrett Temple's got more health news, guys. Health advice from Garrett Temple. This may become a new segment on the show if he's going to do this every day. This is what he's saying now about your diet. He talked about breakfast yesterday. This is what he's saying today. If you eat less, you'll lose weight, but you'll lose mostly muscle. If you eat less but prioritize protein, you'll lose body fat. If you eat less, prioritize protein, and lift weights, you'll lose fat and build muscle. Congrats. You now have the secret to fat loss and muscle gain. There you go. Garrett Temple trying to help the community with what he's doing as far as with his diet and his decisions to get better and be stronger. There you go. This Jamal Shed is highlighting the Texas football game this weekend, and I guess Texas won, didn't they? They win. It looks like they beat Clemson. Good stuff. Let's see who else. Jamison Battle has got Some guy named Cedric McBounds is a Christmas blessing recipient. I'm not sure what that's about. Jamison Battle. Jacoby Walter falling out of bounds and making the shot. That was that 4-point play that he missed the free throw on, but he did hit the three. That was pretty cool. Slim Ducks got himself on action from the court and a song playing over it. Pretty cool. Let's see. Understand the grind gear out there, gym wear. If you guys want to buy some of Norman's gear, it is available for Christmas. Let's see. Jamal McGlure talking to some guys on the street. He looks like Big Daddy Kane. I'm not even sure who that guy is. That's not Big Daddy Kane, is it? No, it can't be. And then let's see. There's also a Toronto Tempo story here. Where did it go? Where did you go? Toronto Tempo. They were doing World Basketball Day also, Toronto Tempo. And there were, here it is. Here it is. Okay, hang on. All right. So Toronto Tempo had an event just like the Raptors with young girls that wanted to learn basketball. And they had the really cool thing about the Toronto Tempo event is that they had Toronto Tempo gear at it. And they gave some of the Toronto Tempo gear to the participants, which is fantastic. Now, one of the things about this too is that this is actually, to me, the first official Toronto Tempo event that they're doing this. So that's pretty cool that they had a Toronto Tempo event for the first time, and those kids that were there, they don't even know it. They were at the very first Toronto Tempo event for World Basketball Day. They had a DJ out there. They had the Toronto Tempo logo and on the backdrop. It's very, very cool. In some ways, I'm really liking the Tempo name more and more, and the color scheme that they came up with. In fact, Teresa was explaining why they picked the Boudreaux and the hydrogen blue. It's really that, it's kind of cool. She actually is doing homage to the colors for our sports teams in Toronto, as far as blue for the Blue Jays and the Maple Leafs and the red for the Raptors, but not exactly the same. So she did want to do a blue and red of some sort, but they're a little bit different. And that purplish Boudreaux red is what they're calling it. And the hydrogen blue are a great little tweak on the main sports colors for Toronto already. So that reasoning really made sense, and I like what she was saying there. Yeah, new shoes and Tempo merch. Wow, that's awesome. The young girls that went to this event, and young boys, it looks like there were boys there too, got all the cool swag from the first ever Toronto Tempo official event. These kids, you don't even understand. You went to something that is so special and so important to start in the very, very beginning of a journey for a WNBA team in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. So good. So good. You guys should be proud and feel privileged to be there. All right, there's your Instagram stories. Yeah, World Basketball Day in full effect for both the Raptors and the Tempo. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. Yeah, let's see. Stargate saying, "Oh, I know, Lex. I have to sometimes go through Atlanta to get to Savannah, where my sister is, so I know how much of a pain it is." It's weird because I thought this would be easier to travel to Atlanta than the normal thing I used to do when my folks lived in Florida, because I'd usually be like a connecting flight through Hartsfield, and I'd have to run through the terminals, like from one end, like the flight from Toronto would come in, and I'd go and get on that train and go from like terminal F to all the way to B or something to catch my connecting flight to Tallahassee. Well, in some ways, that would have been easier than what I went through last night. It was so stupid. It's like, I'm coming from Canada. So, yeah, it would be international flight. And my ride to pick me up was at the international terminal. But because I did customs at Pearson, I come out at the domestic terminal. And so I'm sitting there waiting to get picked up at the other end of the airport, where my ride is trying to pick me up at the other end of the airport. And we didn't find each other. And it just got really confusing, and it took so long. And I was just around so many people and just really draining all the energy around me of the holiday travel and being in Hartsfield for an hour longer than I really wanted to be in there. So yeah, it was just annoying. It's like, what do you do? I didn't realize there were two places you come in for arrivals at Hartsfield. I thought there was just like most airports, you come in and there, boom. But no, it wasn't the case. And that's where we screwed up last night, is we were at the wrong terminals, opposite terminals from each other. All right, let's see what Mo's saying now. Part 1 of the Raptors Sportsnet documentary is posted in the group. Feature Damon, Isaiah, Glenn, Paul, and Alvin. Ooh, I might want to end the stream right now. Go watch this, Mo. Okay, thanks for the heads up. I've seen that Damon Stoudemire has done an interview this week with Michael Grange talking about how he totally regrets leaving Toronto the way he did when he went to Portland. That he understands with hindsight. It's so crazy how hindsight can make you so much smarter and wiser about things that you did in the past. You're like, why did I do it that way? And Damon understands that like he was given the keys to a franchise, of expansion franchise as the face right away, and everything was great. His rookie year was fantastic if they didn't win otherwise. But he didn't realize what he had until, and he really was trying to be loyal to Isaiah and kind of be like, well, Isaiah's out of the ownership group. I don't want to be here anymore. And then he left, but he didn't have to do that. And as he's gotten older, he's more wise to that. And man, he probably looks at the culture the Raptors have built over the last 30 years, the way we're handling things right now. He's like, you know what? I screwed myself up by asking to leave Toronto. Because the other part of it is, and he's very open about this, is when he went to the Trailblazers, he wasn't the franchise player anymore. He wasn't the guy who was the center of attention. Everything revolved around. He became just another player, and it came down to earth real fast. So, yeah, he has severe regrets about wanting to leave the Raptors like he did at that time in that trade with Portland Trailblazers. It's really crazy and interesting to see. I have to watch the Sportsnet documentary, ASAP Rocky. I got to watch this thing as soon as possible because holy crap, it's going to be so good. I know they did such a good job with it, with all the people that they interviewed and stuff like that. I'm very, very interested. Fiercely saying Celtics got PTSD from championship elimination and came back with the same energy. Yeah. I don't know. The Celtics, I don't think they're going to repeat. I really don't. It's so hard to repeat in this league at this point. And it's the kind of league where what now parity is a lot more around than it was like 8 years ago. Seriously, the parity in the league wasn't very good when the Warriors were dynasty and getting the championship every year, and it was the Cavs versus the Warriors every finals. That's part of the reason why Adam Silver want to fix that. Because if you're just getting the same rerun year after year, LeBron versus the Warriors in the finals, that wasn't good for ratings or like the good for the game at all. Because obviously it looked like, well, two teams are always going to be there, or this is going to always happen this way. So he changed the rules, and he's had extreme success with this. I really like that he did this, honestly, because it makes more of a chance for all 30 teams in the NBA to try and win championships in the system that it's under now, compared to what it was in the mid 2010s. So that's why I keep telling people, forget about worrying about being in the middle, because you can be in the middle and progress, and all of a sudden luck with injuries, a certain free agency signing, and boom, all of a sudden you're a championship contender in a way that wasn't possible maybe like 8 or 10 years ago. And that's why people have to amend their ideas about tanking and trying to figure out how to get to the top of the NBA again. You can do it through the middle now. And that's part of the great thing that Adam Silver did with changing the salary cap and also kind of changing it where you can't just buy championships anymore. At least not in our league. You can in MLB, though. You can there. Coquette saying that's the spirit to nurture in your nephew. Embrace the gritty, aggressive style of defense first. Raptors in training. Yeah, I think that my brother does a fantastic job as a dad. His kids are amazing, and I wonder about like the stuff that he gets coached on, because he plays multiple sports. He plays a lot of different sports, and just happens to be basketball season right now. In the winter, so he is playing a lot of basketball right now. But in the summer, he's all about baseball, all about baseball. But yeah, he's a gritty kind of kid. Yeah, he's the kind of kid that will slide into the catcher's face. He's that kind of kid. Yeah. Coquette said, "Yep, WNBA messed up our rollout. It tampered with our excitement." Yeah, in some ways, I don't want to think that it was on purpose. I don't want to think. I want to think that it's probably because in some ways this is something that's really good for a general rule in life. All right, sometimes it's not evil. We can't think that everybody's doing something just to screw somebody over. It's easy to get in that mindset, that these people are evil. They just want to be evil and hurt people. No, sometimes they're just stupid. Sometimes it's just ignorance and dumb. Half of the stuff that's happening in the world isn't because people are like vindictive or awful. They're just dumb and ignorant, and they're making poor decisions, and it hurts a lot of people. And this is the situation in this, I think. The WNBA, it's not self-serving to them to leak this and mess this up for us. It really isn't. I think that maybe there was somebody inside that was trying to be like wrong that did that. Maybe not. Maybe there's just an idiot that did it and didn't realize that it's not supposed to go out yet. But Teresa made it very clear in the podcast that the source of the leak was the WNBA themselves. And she basically, everything we knew already, she reiterated and reinforced and validated as truth. As far as the website was the source of the leak, and yeah, I don't know. Maybe somebody got fired. Maybe somebody got fired in the WNBA for it. Well, I mean, in some ways, if they can't keep secrets like this, and it's a corporation, you need to kind of like look out for this kind of stuff and never let it happen again. So maybe somebody did get fired, like a web person or a PR person that runs their website that released that too soon. Yeah, it's too bad, man. Smooth saying, "Hey, good morning, Lex. Happy to see you arrived. Enjoy your time with your family." I'm gonna try, man. I'm gonna try. This trip has been difficult already, and it's just started. I've got to get sleep. I've got to get sleep, and also I realized too late that I didn't actually eat anything yesterday. It's one of these things where I got to the airport, rushed to get to Pearson, and I go through customs. Customs takes forever. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to eat something in the airport while I'm waiting for my flight. But I got through customs so late that I didn't get a chance to sit down and eat a meal in Pearson before I got on the plane. And then, of course, you get on the plane and all they give you is this little small mini bag of Sun Chips. They don't even give you like a whole bag anymore. Like they used to give you a snack size, like you put it in kids' lunch. No, they give you like a really small, tiny one at this point. It's barely anything. Thank God I bought a little bag of beef jerky at Customs, not at Customs, a duty free shop, and just wolf that down for a second, real quick, just to get something in my stomach. But yeah, I did not eat properly yesterday. I have not got enough sleep, so I'm both tired and hungry right now. But hey, look, I'm still here at 9:30 doing the preview for the Rockets game today. That's right. That's the dedication right there. Name was saying Dapper Lex. Now that's a badass jacket. You like this? You like this jacket? This is my nice jacket that I wear when I'm out. Nameless. I'm a Toronto guy, and I gotta, look a little, I get a nice hood. It's got a nice little wool lining in it. Very, very warm. And yeah, this is my kind of like, hey, I'm out and I'm doing things, kind of jacket. I don't wear it on here very often, but it's cold up here, so I'm wearing it in the house. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, thank you, my paisano, that you approve of the jacket. That's right. Kareem saying, Lex, flashing some leather. Yeah, this is my good jacket. This is my very nice jacket. It's not my Raptors jacket. It's not my Spurs jacket. It's my leather jacket, my nice jacket. If I'm going to go to nice things, and we're going to do nice things this Christmas or something, I got to go somewhere and look presentable. I wear this jacket instead of the Raptors jacket. Plus, we're losing so much. I didn't want to wear too much Raptors gear while I'm traveling. I'm serious. I was wearing this hat in the airport, and I'm like, in some ways, I don't want to rep the Raptors right now because of where we're at right now. It's tough. It's tough. Smooth saying, yes, the Ricky Henderson news really hurt me, man. He won a World Series with the Blue Jays in '93. Yeah, he's part of our culture here. I know he's a big part of the Oakland culture and across the MLB. I mean, he played for the Yankees. He played for a lot of teams. And he really was like, in some ways, he's like a Jordan kind of guy for that league. I mean, when I remember when I was younger, Ricky Henderson was considered one of the greatest of all time. And he really is. Like the way he stole bases as a leadoff hitter and getting on base percentage. And then the fielding stuff was really good too that he could do out there. So, man, it's tough. And he's so young. The man was about to turn 66 on Christmas Day, right around then. And he's only 65. And it makes me wonder, why does this happen this way? He's such a talented athlete, somebody who's so skilled and so healthy, and he must have had some demons somewhere or something. Why? Was there something that happened to him medically that he would pass away at such a young age? That's what's mystifying me. It took me for a loop. I mean, after a day of traveling and going through everything I just told y'all and not eating, seeing that at the end of the day really upset me. Seeing that Ricky Henderson had passed yesterday, it was really, really sad. Yeah, I love Ricky. He's one of my favorite players from back in the day. Even though he wasn't on my team half the time, I just always enjoyed watching Ricky Henderson play. Or always did. Always did. I know a lot of people are feeling this like us right now. Seriously. Let's see. Smooth saying he drew the walk from Mitch Williams right before the home run from Joe Carter. There you go. There you go. Big, big part of getting a World Series ring with us that year. Yeah. Yeah. Touch them all, Joe. You'll never hit a bigger home run in your life. There you go. There you go. I love that. All right, let's do the classic card. Trevor has called for it, so we'll go ahead and do it right now. Let me see. Let's get a classic one. Oh my gosh. Okay, this is funny. In some ways, this is funny, but in some ways, this is not. All right, we're at 10:20 on the chat. I'll make sure I get back to the right spot so I don't miss you guys' comments. All right, guys, classic card of the day. You tell me who this is, and in some ways, y'all may have to tell me why or something about this guy. Anyway, who is that, guys? This is a tough one in some ways, but I'll give you good clues if you can't figure it out. Obviously, it's a Piston. Obviously, I think it's a bit of a recent card. It's not so classic, just so y'all know. But who do you think this guy is, guys? I'll give you some clues if you're struggling with trying to figure out who this is. But yeah, maybe you can figure it out. I will say there is a Raptor connection. How about that? That is what we'll say. Yeah, Fiercey, you don't get Seagold. That's what I'm saying. Don't get Seagold. Yeah, Fiercey's starting to figure it out. Fiercey's starting to figure it out here. He was with us. He was with us. Yeah, Paul Reed. No, it's not Paul Reed. Yeah, hey, he was on the Raptors. Yeah, he was on the Raptors. He was on the Raptors in training camp a couple years ago, and he got cut. He was one of the last cuts. And then we found out something about him that he got in trouble for afterwards. And he's not in the league anymore. He had his last chance to get in the league with the Raptors. He did not make the team, and he's not been seen in the league ever since. So you got the last name, Fiercey. I just need somebody to put the two together, and they'll get the classic card points on this. Yeah, nobody can remember his first name. This is interesting. Yeah, okay, Fiercey. You don't want to put it together for me? All right. Even though she wrote just Josh and she had Jackson up there, I don't know. Who should I do it? Because Kareem actually technically gave the answer correctly first because she just put Josh. She's half-assing is what's happening here. And full ass is the full ass here. I don't know. He was a lottery pick. Yeah, Josh Jackson is the answer. Yeah, it's crazy. This guy apparently he had some sort of sexual misconduct that we found out about after he tried to make our team. Was that something happened? And yeah. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and I don't know. Who do you guys think I should give the points to? Because I really do feel like Kareem technically did it right. Fiercey's not following the rules. And in some ways, they're Kareem's rules, and he actually did it right. So I don't know. You know what? I'm going to split it. I'm going to give 50-50. I'm going to give 50 to you guys. I'm not going to give you guys both a full 100 on this. You guys are going to split the 100, and we're going to put Fiercey and Kareem for 50. 50 each. I'll make sure I put the note in there so David knows how to score it correctly. 50 each. There you go. Josh Jackson. Boom goes the dynamite. There's the classic card of the day in the Pistons jersey. Yeah, I'm just saying, man, it's a tough league. You know, it's a tough league, and you can find your way out if you're not working hard and doing the right things to get there. That's right. If you're not working hard. All right, let's see. Kareem saying at Smooth, Henderson calling a timeout, having Mitch stumble on a pitch set the table for 4 straight balls, forcing the walk. It's just brilliance. That's just smarts. That's why vet and experience matters in sports, because the knowledge of Ricky Henderson to do that, to set that up, was a huge game changer to help the Blue Jays win the World Series. That's fantastic. Fiercely saying, fam, funny story. Yesterday's game, Knicks versus Pelicans on New Orleans court, the ball boy got a tech for wiping water mid-game and causing delay of game. Which team gets penalized? First time ever seeing this. Wow. Well, the home team gets penalized for this. New Orleans does, because it's on their home court and it's their staff. I don't see them giving a free throw to New Orleans for their ball boy wiping, because then, like, what would teams do? They just like start sending their ball boy out there to get a free throw all of a sudden. So they definitely penalized New Orleans. I hadn't heard this yet. This is crazy. I didn't know about this story until you just told me, but I could see this happening at some point. I mean, they probably feel so bad. Maybe they just had really poor judgment about coming out on the floor. I mean, maybe the NBA on the download is telling the floor wipers to be more vigilant because injuries are up. And they're like, oh, I got to get it out there. And then he picked the wrong time. They came out there and they started wiping the floor in the middle of the game. That's hilarious. In some ways, I want to see that highlight. I'm going to go look for it, because that's pretty funny. Now, there's a crazy game with the Miami Heat in Orlando yesterday, where the Heat came out and scored so many points in the first quarter and then scored so little points in the fourth. And the Magic were able to come back from down 22 in the fourth quarter. It was one of the biggest comebacks ever in the history of the NBA, top 10. And also, it's crazy because the Magic continue to get a lot of injuries right now. In fact, Franz has been out now recently, but now Mo Wagner is out. And it's a really bad injury from what I'm hearing, that they're very, very worried that Mo Wagner is going to miss a huge chunk of the season now. So very interesting game in the Florida game this week, yesterday between Miami and Orlando. One of the weirdest game swings. And looking at the box score and seeing the points per quarter looks so weird, man. So weird. It's like Orlando scored like it's crazy. In the fourth quarter, Orlando scored 37 points, and Miami Heat only scored 8, and they only won by 7 points. So they needed to kick their butt exactly that much. Crazy. Kareem saying Podinsky caught a tech for telling the refs a drink spilled on the court. These refs are unhinged. Really? This is crazy. Okay, so Golden State Warriors Brendan Podziemski, he's like in his second year. He saw somebody spill something on the court. He told the refs, and the ref got mad. Okay, I want to go look and see who was the ref yesterday in that game, because in some ways I want to keep tabs on really crazy ref decisions, and I have to know who it is. Now, this is the game last night against the Timberwolves. Okay, let me go see who the referees were. I want to know who it was that possibly did this crazy call, because I have to be realizing, okay, it was the Seans were there. Okay, they had Sean Wright and Sean Corbin and Simone Jelks. Do you know who was Simone? Was it the female ref or was it Sean Corbin? I'm pretty sure it was probably Sean Corbin. That seems like a Sean Corbin kind of thing. I'm gonna have to go look at that highlight too and see who the hell called a tech on Podzinski like that. That's crazy. Fiercely saying, "Let's go Raptors and get the dub tonight. Let's go tempo." I don't even know what time the game is. For some reason, in my mind, I'm thinking this Rockets game is in the afternoon, but it isn't. It's probably around 6 o'clock, isn't it? Right? It's probably around 6 o'clock. What is wrong with you, Lex? You can know the refs, but you don't know what time the game is today. What is going on with you, guy? Get it together. You're all frazzled. Okay, it is 6 o'clock start. I was right. They're doing the early 6 p.m. start on a Sunday night, like they like to do recently. It's very, very good. It's a good start time for. Although Doug Smith says they should start at 3. All right, so we're saying at Kareem Thomas, I was in a car headed downtown to celebrate the Blue Jays. I heard the call on the radio. Fantastic. Yeah, I was living in Florida at the time. It was such a good time when the Blue Jays won both their World Series. I was in high school still. I was just finishing up my high school. And yeah, I was so happy because I really do love the Blue Jays a lot. I really was raised as a big Blue Jays fan. I went to games at Exhibition Stadium before the Skydome and saw people like Ernie Witt and Dave Stieb and, Cecil Fielder and Lloyd Mosby and Willie Upshaw. And yeah, and I remember very clearly going to an Exhibition Stadium game against the Oakland A's, and the Bash brothers were there, and we were playing against Canseco and McGuire, and woo! And I think Henderson might have been on that team at that time too. So yeah, I have some good memories of going to Blue Jays games when I was young, before the Skydome even existed, out in the parking lot where TFC it currently is right now. Yeah, I love Blue Jays. I love the Blue Jays a lot. I don't have the time to watch them and be like I am with the Raptors, the way I am with the Raptors, freaking out on the Raptors all the time. Kareem said, I was with my baseball team at the bar that our coaches took us to. Smooth. That's cool. So you're like a kid and they took you to a bar? I mean, you're right around my age. I think you're a little bit younger. So you had to have been like, a preteen or like an early teenager at that time, Kareem. Really? So they snuck you into the bar. So we say that, Kareem. I remember when the Blue Jays got him, all those years of killing the Jays as a Yankee and Oakland A's, and he was finally on our team. That was really cool. There's a few players that we circled around and got around that era, and I really commend our front office at that time. Who is it? Who was the front office? It was Gillick or something like that. Whoever was able to finagle getting people like Jack Morris and Dave Winfield and Ricky. They did such a good job. I mean, we had people like Paul Molitor coming through our team around that era of the Blue Jays. Yeah, we were not pinching pennies, and we were going out and spending money on the Blue Jays. And well, it got us 2 World Series pennants. and that's fantastic. That is absolutely fantastic. So yeah, it was a great time for the Blue Jays history, and I'd like to get back to those kind of moments, but it seems like we're so far away from that kind of thing for the Blue Jays in the MLB at this point. Man, yeah, smooth saying, especially in the 1989 ALCS, he carved up the Blue Jays on his own. Man, I remember that. Very powerful player. I mean, if you're a really good leadoff guy, you really set the table literally for your team to get your offense going. And he gets on play, he gets on the base, and then he can steal a couple bases, and all of a sudden he's on third base. Yeah, that's a real advantage. That's a real advantage. Ricky Henderson knew when to steal. That's for damn sure he did. He knew when to steal, and one of those rare talents that could actually, hit for contact, steal, and also was not a bad power hitter sometimes. He could hit some home runs too. Kareem saying Ricky at one point only wanted to hit singles so he could steal second. It was automatic. Yeah. Yeah. And everybody was anticipating too. That's the crazy thing about Ricky Henderson is they knew what he was going to do. They knew exactly what he was going to do, but they could never stop him. That he was going to go do it anyway. It didn't matter if they knew if he was going to do it. He was going to do it anyway, and they couldn't stop him. It's like, okay, yeah, he's on second. He knew exactly how to do it exactly right. It was awesome. Trevor's saying that the G League, the champions of the G League Showcase, they just crowned it, and it's the Knicks. The Knicks won the G League Showcase. Interesting. Well, we saw Westchester in person. Monique and I went to the game, Blackhawk and MK. And yeah, we saw the Westchester Knicks. They weren't bad. I mean, they're a very long team, and they were very getting it after it, kind of Bo Bowie and all those guys. Yeah, I'm not surprised by this. In some ways, I am, but I'm not. I guess that says something about the Western Conference of the G League right now. That the Westchester Knicks are the showcase champions. Okay, we saw them, and yeah, they kicked our butt every time we played them. That's for sure. Kareem saying Shamshay with a huge dunk last night, but missed 2 dunks prior. Okay, that's good. Now, Kareem, this is something I want to do real quick. This will be a fun exercise, something we've never done on the Raptor Freak channel. Since you, Mo, are both here and you were watching that game and you were in the chat on G League, I'm going to try and go over the game without actually watching it. I've done a little bit of already. I'm going to go and look at the box score and do the team stats real quick. And I'm going to talk about the autopsy of the game from the team stats, and we'll see how accurate I am. All right, it looks like, the Clippers got more shots on goal. So did they play more scrappy than the Raptors 905? Because it seems like they got 10 more shots, and they did shoot better than them. But the three-pointers were key for the Raptors. They hit 13 to their 9, and they shot better from three-point range. It also looks like that the free throw line was a very important place for the game because the Clippers missed half their free throws, and the Raptors 905 actually shot almost 80% from free throw, which is crazy because they have not done this all season. So it's like, look at that, Raptors 905. There's the lesson. Listen to Andrew Jones, make your free throws, and you have a better chance to win. And maybe the whole thing that mattered about last night was the free throws, obviously, from the highlights. And you know what? You make most of your free throws. You only miss 4. You win. They got out rebounded. That's interesting. So it was like the Clippers were scrappy. They had more personnel. We only played 7 players, and they had more guys playing, and they had more energy, and they were getting after it more. But we dominated with people like Kaminsky and Charlie Brown, and the free throws were a key thing, and the three-pointers too. Making more threes than them was mattering too. We got more assists. I like the 31 assists for the Raptors 905. That's really good. Looks like they went crazy with blocks. They had like 10 blocks on us. They were blocking us every which way. That's crazy. Turnovers were a problem for the Raptors 905. Of course, I looked at the point guards, and both of them had 10 turnovers between the two of them, Gilliard and Chandler. So, yeah, 21 turnovers. I'm not surprised by that. Fast break. It looks like the Clippers got out on fast break more, and they dominated the points in the paint too. So the things that won the Raptors 905 game yesterday were their better 3-point shooting and the free throws. And hey, a win is a win. Hey, we won that game overtime, 1-point victory against the San Diego Clippers. I liked seeing the highlight of Nate Darling out there too. Canadian Nate Darling hitting a big 3 in that game, it looked like. And it's always good to see Canadian content on the other side doing well. Let's see. Cool Cat saying, Lex, you're correct. Pacers were in the middle and reached the conference finals before the team was ready. Opportunities presented themselves. Parity allows that. Look at the Rockets via Fred VanVleet and Dylan Brooks. This is what I'm saying. In some ways, this league is becoming more of a very much a mix of skill and luck with injuries. Listen, a team could be like the Milwaukee Bucks at the beginning of the season, but they get their ship righted, and all of a sudden they cruise and they're doing like what the Bucks did just now, winning the Showcase Cup. So this is the thing. Come around April, everybody's going to be trying to be their best version because those are the games that matter the most, the playoffs. And that's the thing. This league is more parity. The opportunity because of injuries and people missing or just getting hot and playing very well in chemistry at those times can propel a team because they're all pretty close and a lot of them in the same places. You can propel a team just above everybody else, and all of a sudden they're NBA champions. And, in some ways, the way the Raptors won it in 2019 is like this. In some ways, there were injuries around different places. We made a very, very smart free agents trade for Marc Gasol, right, to bolster our stuff going in. And boom, all of a sudden, you're on your way to a Larry O'Brien. So, the Pacers last year are a great example, like Cool Cat is saying. So that's the thing that young fans and just fans in general, old fans that think that the NBA is the same way it was 10 years ago, it's not. And that's what we have to understand. There's a lot of luck through injuries and different things that can help teams get further than you would think they would get. And that's great because in some ways we don't want a predictable NBA season. It's like when the Warriors dynasty was going on, everybody's like, well, the Warriors are just going to win again. They've got Kevin Durant with Steph Curry. And that was no good. It was hurting the league. It was making it too predictable. You watch Survivor. They just did the Survivor finale last week. And congratulations to Rachel who won. But, Rachel was a shoo-in to win that. In some ways, the producers of Survivor had to produce and edit the show to make it look like Sam had a chance to get votes from the jury and win the Survivor because there's no show or no dramatics to it. So they really have to figure that out. So there's no kind of drama to it because it's just set in stone. It just seems like, oh, the Warriors going to win again. That's what Adam Silver had to fix. And that's part of why this is the way it is at this point. Because we want to be able to make it ambiguous. And, easily people just say, yeah, the Celtics are the favorites. They're going to win again. No, it's not that easy. It's not that simple to win back-to-back in the NBA anymore. Just trust me on this. Smooth saying, to understand how dominant Ricky Henderson was against the Blue Jays in that 1989 series, think of LeBron James against the Raptors, those series against the Cavs. I remember that old Oakland A's team. It was nasty. I mean, it wasn't just that they had Canseco, Henderson, and McGuire. They had Carney Lansford. They had some crazy pitching with people like Dave Stewart and Dennis Eckersley. Yeah, that was a nasty team with La Russa as their manager. Yeah, they were badasses. The Oakland A's of the 80s into the early 90s were a dangerous team. And you could always think of that World Series that they had against the Giants, the Candlestick Park with the earthquake. And the old Will Clark San Francisco Giants. Yeah. See, I can get into some baseball stuff. I was very much paying attention at this time, like you guys were too. Yeah. I can see the dominance you're saying. I don't know. The LeBronto thing's so different, though. I mean, if you're going to say the Oakland A's dominated the whole entire league like that, yeah, okay, because we don't want to make it just us that got beat up by LeBron. It wasn't just us. He beat up everybody in the Eastern Conference. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Cool Cat saying Detroit is doing way better swapping some youth for vets that has never won anything yet if it makes a difference. Tobias Harris has been a great low-key addition to the Pistons right now. Nobody's going to talk about it. But when we saw the Pistons earlier this season, they beat us. We have not beaten the Pistons this year. I think that the additions that you're talking about are, I think Tobias in some ways took some of the winning ways for the Sixers away from them and brought it to the Pistons. And some people may have been very down on Tobias's contract being so big and stuff. But the glue, all-purpose kind of player that he is really showing a boon of helping the Pistons now. And his absence is felt in Philadelphia. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, he's a very good example of this right there, what you're talking about. Of course, I think they have Tim Hardaway Jr. too, and he's a very good vet for them to have also. Smith saying he's the greatest base stealer in the history of the game. Rest in peace, Ricky Henderson. Yeah, I had to mention him. He's a part of Toronto sports history. And personally, to me, he was one of my favorite players back then. He really was. Back then, his name was bandied around with names like Hank Aaron and Babe Ruth, and he really is like that. He really, really is like that. He's not like a run of the mill modern all star. He really was like a bigger than life kind of a baseball icon. Ricky Henderson has a real weight to his name. It's not the same weight of Michael Jordan in basketball, but it's not far away from that. Let's just put it that way. I mean, Michael's a whole other thing in sports in general, but I'm just saying it's like that. Smooth saying he has 2 World Series rings, one with the Oakland A's in '89 and the Blue Jays in '93. Yeah, yeah, great, 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 great MLB player, and it's really sad to hear that he passed so young just recently. Yeah. Paul Reed, yeah, 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 yeah. Jackson kid, yeah, Josh Jackson. Ah, man, he's probably somewhere in Europe right now or Asia or something like that. I feel bad for the guy. It's weird because this is a Pistons card, but why is it green in Celtics? Like, what is that? It was a homecoming for Jackson in 2020, 21 when the forward who hooped it up in high school in Detroit joined the Pistons, making his first start at Little Caesars Arena. He soared for 17 points against the Warriors on December 29th. Rounding out his line, he added 6 boards, 3 dimes, a block, and a steal in a memorable outing. Okay, and he had only played 1 year for the Grizzlies, and then he came to the Pistons. Yeah, pretty cool, pretty cool. All right, let's see. He was a lottery pick, and that's the sad thing. Is like, where was he picked? Does it even have it on here? Doesn't say it. He was a Kansas player too, so there you go, another Jayhawk. All right, Slug Deezy, good morning to you. Blackhawk saying. Pneumonia can get anybody. I learned that. Oh, that's why he died. Seriously, I didn't know this yet. I didn't know cause of death was pneumonia. I learned that many years ago going on weekly trips to Florida. I caught bronchitis, and the doctor said if I hadn't come in, pneumonia was next. Yeah, that's in some ways. Don't be tough and try and stick things out, especially as you get older. Everybody, go to the doctor, and if they can give you antibiotics and give you something to help fight it to help you, this is good because things can get worse. Totally. Good health advice today. We've been kind of doing health and food advice lately on the channel. Maybe a pivot from the politics to more healthy living advice right now. I like that, Blackhawk. I like that. You know what? I'm going to give you a dunk for that comment because honestly, that is very helpful. 97. So don't be afraid to go to the doctor. Don't be tough and try to say, oh, especially as you get older, you need to go in there and get checked out. Let's see. Kareem deserves it. I half-assed it. I mean, I'm going to give you guys both 50. MJ, I love you. I want you to get it. You half-assed it. Let's see. Kareem's saying, give it to Fiercey. I know what it's like to half-ass. Neither one of y'all want to give it to anybody. You want to give it to each other. That's, you know what? Why y'all did that? You know what? You're both getting 100 now. I just amped it up. You're getting 100 each instead of 50 each for the season of giving. It's obviously a holiday season because Fiercey and Kareem are both trying to give the points to each other. That is just the Raptor Freak way. You guys are awesome, man. You guys are awesome. That's so beautiful, honestly. All right, let me see. Blackhawks saying the ball boys should have waited for the Pelicans and Knicks to move down court. Yeah, maybe they need to train these guys better. Like, don't you understand? You're not supposed to do this in active play. I mean, people are getting texts for coming out on the court during the game if they're celebrating off the bench as a player. The coach is getting in trouble for coming out of the coach's box, Joe Mazzulla. So it's like, why wouldn't the floor wiper? I mean, sometimes they cut it real close. I've seen them kind of scamper off real quick. They may be out there and they're trying to wipe the floor and they're at the other end. And then all of a sudden there's a turnover and there's a fast break, fast transition, and you'll see the floor wiper like scramble, like, oh, and they like run off. You see that happen from time to time because the NBA game is very fast and they change sides of courts very quickly. So yeah, that, in some ways, this is like being a floor wiper for the NBA is like playing Frogger. I feel like it's like Frogger. You got to pick your spot and get in there. Don't get hit by a car or chomped by a crocodile. All right, let's keep going. Let's see. Apparently, there was something spilled. So if they inbounded and it was caught in that spot, or if it was a steal before they were down the court, that could have been very dangerous. I think this is as a very, very serious topic, even though I'm joking about it right now. those people do have a very important job. I mean, look at our big Austrian center where he is right now. He might not be sitting there if a floor wiper had done their job better. I still blame Santa. Why the hell was it so wet at your end of the court, Santa Claus? Like, seriously, do you have that kind of drip? Is that what it is? Santa has drip. It's just moist and wet. I shouldn't have said that word. I know. It's just wet all over that in the court over by him and Nat Bhatia. It was very strange, like the correlation of extra wetness and drip around the end of the court while Santa Claus is sitting at courtside down there. What is that correlation? But yeah, listen, floor wipers, you guys are MVPs. We need you out there to save the NBA players from getting injured. So please do your job accordingly, but don't be out there and get a tech. Maybe the referees are out of control. This is the problem. These refs are so crazy right now. They're like teching everybody. What's next? You're going to tech a beer vendor for yelling in the stands? You're going to tech a radio or a TV announcer for doing something weird on the sideline? I don't know, man. Y'all are sensitive. Ben Taylor especially. Y'all are sensitive referees. Y'all are sensitive people. Monique say W stream, W vibes from where you are and all, and keep it at all. Keep at it always. Yes, I will, Mo. I promise you. I love you, my good friend Monique Lawrence. Yes, we will stay strong forever. And thank you for holding it down while I'm out on the travel circuit right now. That's right. Fiercely saying the Bucks won the cup just to get smoked the following game against the Cavs. That's the NBA, baby. That's the NBA. You know, in some ways, these are good lessons. You know, listen. Scottie Barnes, listen to me right now. And I'm saying stuff like this to you in the last week, especially after that game against Brooklyn on Thursday. Scottie, you got to understand gravity of situations. You've got to understand certain games mean more than other games. Preseason game, okay. That doesn't mean as much as a regular season game, okay. Regular season game doesn't mean as much as an NBA Cup game, okay. An NBA Cup game doesn't mean as much as a playoff game. A first round playoff game does not mean as much as a second round playoff game, and so on, all the way up to a finals game. And a finals game, game one is not as important as a game 7 finals game. Scottie, you have to be aware of the gravity of different games, and you need to come with a different kind of energy dependent on what the gravity is. And in some ways, the NBA Cup schedule, even it's janky and Jack Armstrong hates how it's all over the place and it's confusing. You need to dial in on when those NBA Cup games are and just go to your ultimate, like get 11 on the 10 dial as far as what you're trying to do in those games. In some ways, you know, it's funny. In DeMar's podcast with Chris Paul, they talked about Chris Paul was talking about how, you know, on days when I get to see my family after the game, because this is one of the things they really centered the whole talk around is being an NBA player means you're away from your family on the road, traveling all the time, and it's tough. You miss stuff. And like DeMar talked about missing the daddy-daughter dance and how it broke his heart hearing his daughter ask, why aren't you here? You're in San Antonio. You know, Chris Paul basically saying that, hang on just a sec. I lost my train of thought on this. We're talking about gravity of games and things like that. Chris Paul was talking about this, that he would get up for a game more because he knew that he was going to eat with his family after the game. Like in some ways, these players can have different levels of how much they achieve on the court, depending on whether they got good sleep, whether they ate right, whether they have something to look forward to, whether they're just feeling up. They may be feeling depressed or down and they don't play as well. There's all kinds of different factors, and it's not the same for every player. Some players may play very well because they're depressed. They want to work it out in anger. Some players may not play very well when they're depressed. Some players may play very well when they're a little bit tired. Some players may play well when they're a little bit sick, Michael Jordan. And, you know, it's that kind of stuff. In some ways, you got to understand, Scott, the gravity of each game you're going into and what's important about them and bring the correct energy and attitude and bring it to the game and make it happen on the court. And that's what I want to see you do more and more in the future. You've got to understand what is going on, Scott. I'm talking to you specifically because you have the most power out of all the Raptors. And in some ways, we need you to show that power in those very important games that I just described in the hierarchy of this is a preseason game. This is a summer league game. This is a NBA Cup game. This is a finals game. You've got to understand those differences and be able to come with it, right? For whatever game that is. That's right. In some ways, the Bucks winning the finals game of the NBA Cup is more important than getting blown out than the Cavs. I mean, in some ways, because that's the NBA Cup and they got money. I have to give kudos to Damian Lillard and and Giannis for giving their money for the NBA Cup to the support staff of the Milwaukee Bucks. Kudos to you guys. Kudos to you guys. Dame Lillard, I've come down on you in different ways in the last couple of years for the move from Portland to Milwaukee and how it's gone for you. But man, this year's going way better for you this time. Last year was a wash, the first year of you in the Bucks jersey. But this year's going better. You guys are NBA Cup champions, and you're also getting things going. And this move by you, totally classy, totally classy to donate your winnings from the NBA Cup to support staff on the Bucks. Really classy. Fiercely saying Santa with the drip. Pause, Lex. No, I'm just saying, like, you know how you guys are recognizing my leather jacket drip today. Well, I'm just saying Santa Claus has a drip or something. I don't know. Maybe, oh, you just made me realize why I should pause. Yeah, that's gross. Why did you say that, Lex? Thank you, Fiercely. There's a delay pause. I should have caught that. Trevor's saying Moses Brown, he was a monster for the Knicks. Really? Oh, for the Westchester Knicks? He didn't even play against us when we played them. He didn't hardly come out there or play at all. I don't remember seeing him on the court when we went live that Sunday. So yeah, Moses Brown is on the. I remember seeing him at the game, but I don't remember him playing. Fiercely saying, "Wow, very nice gesture from Giannis and Dame." Yeah, their entire amount that they got personally went there. The other players, I'm not totally sure, but Giannis and Dame did that. I know that for sure. Very classy. These guys didn't need the money, and they felt like doing something nice, and it really looks good on them. It really does. All right, let's see. Do I have something I need to do still on the channel that I did not do yet? Let me make sure. All right, we'll do a review real quick. I don't think there's anything else I want to talk about. I think I covered most of the subjects. All right, once again, the injuries for today. Jakob Poeltl is out for a second game because of his groin. Davion Mitchell is questionable because of his shoulder. I hope you play, man. We need everybody available as much as possible, as soon as possible. And I don't want to have a lost season because of a revolving door of injuries. So in 2025, let's get healthy, Raptors. And also, that may be my Christmas wish. Honestly, I don't care about anything else next year. Just Raptors get healthy for the whole entire calendar year, not just the second half of this season, but next year too. Bruce Brown has been ruled out for today, also because of his knee, and also Emmanuel Quickly. The good news is Scottie and RJ will be playing for us today, and hopefully they can carry us to a victory somehow, some way with Oshai and Grady and the rest of the crew. I'll speculate that the starting lineup will once again be Mobo, but I'm holding out a hope that maybe Bruno Fernando will get the nod to start. Maybe Olynyk. Maybe they do start Olynyk. Olynyk might be a good person to kind of slow down Sengun, because we know that Alperen is kind of like Jakob. He's the focal point, the hub. And in some ways, if you really can kind of mess him up, you hurt the Rockets from doing what they want to do. So if we can kind of like slow down or stymie Sengun, that would do really good things for the Raptors today. It really would. Let's see. On the other side, the Rockets have one injury. It's Tari Eason. He's out, but everybody else is available. So we'll see Freddie and Bill and Dylan today. Yeah, go easy on us, Dylan. You're going to try and take our house today, aren't you? You're probably going to. Dylan Brooks is going to be at the end of the game saying, "This is my house. This is my house, Scotiabank Arena." The referees for today's game against Houston, Josh Tiven is the crew chief. He favors the Raptors. Jason Goebel is the referee. He favors the Rockets. And Matt Myers is the umpire. He favors the Raptors. So 2 out of 3 ain't bad, Meatloaf. Yeah. All right. Let me see. No birthdays today. We're in a little weird dry spot where there's no birthdays right now. Raptors 905 won against the San Diego Clippers by 1 in overtime yesterday, finishing the Showcase Cup season with 5-11 record. And the stars of the game in my book were Frank Kaminsky, Kennedy Chandler, Charlie Brown Jr., Evan Gilliard II, and Ulrich Shomshay are my 5 stars of the game. All right, y'all. Check out your fantasy teams and make sure you got them going good. Let's see. Oh, there's a new article out on ESPN Plus, and let's see what they're saying about the Raptors on here. Will they let me look at it, or are they going to be stingy? Oh, it has to be on ESPN Plus. You have to pay for the content. Well, your content sucks, so why would I even try and look at it? Seriously, ESPN, you think I'm going to pay to read your crap? No, I'm not. I'm not. So I don't even care what you have to say about the Raptors in that article. Trade outlooks for all 30 teams. Yeah, I don't think we should be trading right now. We need to get healthy before we analyze whether we need to trade. That's what I say right there. All right, let's get out of here. We're just at almost 2 hours. All right, hang on. Let's see. Oh, you guys filled in some more. Trevor's saying he signed a lifetime deal with Adidas. Who? Who did? Oh, Dame Mueller. That's pretty cool. Thank you. Stargate saying I say start Kelly. He will frustrate Sengun. It's kind of a fun little mini Team Canada matchup with Dylan versus RJ and Kelly. Little bit of fun there. We've seen in the games so far this season, RJ kind of matching up against Team Canada guys like SGA and Mathurin and Nebhard. That it's always a fun matchup. The Team Canada versus kind of stuff. There's some extra shit talk between like him and Lou Dort and SGA, and well, there should be that tonight for sure with the master of attack and trash, Mr. Dylan Brooks. So I want to see a little bit of back and forth between RJ Barrett and Dylan Brooks, all good natured as guys that love each other because they're teammates on Team Canada. But yeah, that competitive spirit should be seen today between those guys. And then you got to have the other factor of Fred coming home and Fred wanting to show the Toronto fans a good show. And I know he has pure love, but also I wonder about, I've noticed in some ways Anunoby, Siakam, and Van Vliet, when they return since they've left, they go easy on us. I've kind of noticed this. Seriously, OG started really good against us in his only game against the Raptors, but he fell off by the end of the game, was not making shots. And Pascal's got a really bad record against the Raptors, and this year at least. We beat him both times he played them. And Freddie, they lost when we played them after he got traded to after he went to the Rockets last year. They lost the game against us in Toronto last year, the Rockets, just so y'all remember. But I don't remember if Fred played. I think he was out and he was not playing in that game. So this could be very interesting to see Fred play against us today. And we'll have to see if he comes and takes it to us or there's a little bit of a soft spot for his old franchise that he has so many great memories with. So who knows? Maybe Fred will go easy on us. Who knows? Maybe Fred will do things that piss off Pensair, and he'd be like, "Yeah, now it's like going the other way. He's chucking. He's just chucking. He's missing so many shots, taking so many shots. He's being ball hog." And then the Raptors win. That's right. Fiercely saying Sengun's footwork is. And we need to stop him. Go Raptors. There you go. I love it. Yeah. And Fierce's also saying, Kelly, please apply your foul baiting techniques tonight. Yeah. Maybe you get Sengun in some foul trouble. Then he won't be as so big of a factor. These are good keys to the victory. Advice for winning or whatever they say. Winning plays. They have so many different names for what they do now. Randy Urban's keys to victory before the game and stuff. Mine is get Sengun in foul trouble. And start Bruno Fernando or Kelly Olynyk. Please, Darko, don't do this undersized stuff right from the start. It will be bad. It'll open the door for the Rockets to just run all over us in the points in the paint. And we can't have that. We can't have that at all today. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching me today. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, and join the channel if you can. It's fun. It's not for everybody. I understand. But if you are one of the people that is for it, man, it's fun for a long, long time. Yeah, Cool Cat saying, I find Pascal, OG, and Fred don't put their kill them face on. Too emotional attachment to us. Even fans don't boo them. Yeah, it's in some ways it's like conditioning from playing for us for so long. And there's so many good memories. And it is an emotional thing to come back to Toronto and play against us. Whether it's DeMar, it's Kyle. These guys do go through these feelings. I mean, Vince went through it in the worst kind of way, and deservedly so. But yeah, that's kind of, it's easy for Vince to come back at us and kill us because we were all booing him and we're so mad at him. It's not like that with these guys. They get so much love, and Fred's going to get it again today. He's going to get it again today. That's right. Stargate saying Kelly can be a little dirty, so I hope he plays that way. That's right. He'll play like my nephew. I would tell my nephew, you got to start playing like Kelly Olynyk. All right, y'all. I love y'all. Thanks for watching me. Happy holidays. And I'll be back to react to the game and set up the Knicks game because there's no rest for the Raptors team. They'll play the Rockets tonight, get on a plane and fly to New York and play against the Knicks in Madison Square Garden with Vince Carter on the mic with Alvin Williams and Matt Devlin tomorrow. So, yeah, we'll be ready for that. And then, of course, it's getting to the Christmas day, the big day. We'll have a Christmas Eve reaction stream on Tuesday from the Knicks game. And then on Christmas morning, I'll be on for 5 minutes, sing a song for you. And I may have some help with doing the Christmas song this year. Just so stay tuned for that. The Christmas song's awesome too. I've written most of it. It's fantastic. You guys are gonna love it, just like the ones from the past years. It's really goofy and fun. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching me. I'm out. Y'all have a great Sunday. And let's go Raptors. Let's try and beat the Rockets. It may not be easy, but I believe in y'all. And maybe Fred will give us a little bit of help. Dylan won't, though. Dylan's going to come in there and try and kill us. Watch. And RJ's probably going to be talking some mad trash both ways. They're going to be talking some trash. I know they will. Let's go, Raptors.